This is taking the page from a playbook of a very good friend and mentor of mine who passed away some years ago. He was an old cowboy from the state of Texas in America. And he was like a general. He was a great leader. And he was a great leader because he could move people. He could move them along. He could really get them to see their potential. But you know, he pushed them. He didn't coddle them. He would never call them up and say, hey, listen, it's okay. It's okay. He would never do that. And this might not be your style, but he would call them and say, it's not okay. It's not okay. We set our goals and we came up short of our goals. That's not okay, right? We're not going to just kind of wallow around in mediocrity. We want to excel. And the only way to excel is to set the goal and hit the goal. And he would drive these people. Well, that's leadership. That's leadership. Because it's easiest just to simply say to people, that's okay. It's okay. I know you had a hard week. It's okay. Right? That's easy to say. But as a leader, it's important for us, again, we're going to see more in that person than they see in themselves. And it's important for us to say to them, it's not okay. That is not okay. That is not the space that we choose to occupy when we build this business. Okay? And we're going to drive. Now, what are we going to do in these strategy sessions? Now, I recommend you have a strategy session with the person that comes into your business within the first 24 hours. Okay? And call it that if you want, or call it something else. It doesn't matter. But you need to be able to sit down with the person that's come into the business, and you need to be able to say to them, if it's over the phone or if it's face-to-face, you need to say, listen, we're going to have a session. We're going to have a strategy session. There are some things that I want to talk to you about because I want to help you succeed in this business. Okay? I want to help you succeed. And what you'll find is that a new person in your business really only needs three things. They want to know that they can be successful. They want to know that they can have health. And they want to know that the business is going to be fun. Okay? Isn't that interesting? That's what the statistics tell us. These surveys that come back tell us. There are only three things that this new person really wants. They want to be successful. That means they want to make some money. Okay? 2, they want to know that they have help and support. And 3, they want to have fun. Well, that makes sense. Who wants to be in a business that's dull or boring or not fun? Okay? That's what the rest of their life has been. That's what they do at their job. Okay? If they're going to join us, they're going to do it because they can make money, they can get support, and they can have fun. Okay? And that's why it's important that we have fun. That's why it's important that we make enough money, that we create a lifestyle that goes up on Facebook and the whole world goes, I wish I could do some of those things. How do you afford to do those things? Right? Yeah. That's what we're trying to create. So in this strategy session, there are a number of things that you want to be able to say. Okay? Number 1. You want to make sure that they have their own product story. Okay? Their own product story. Now that means that they've got to get the product on, they've got to get using the product, and they have to develop their own story. Okay? Using somebody else's story is fine. Using somebody else's story is great. But there is nothing more powerful than using your own story. Okay? I tried PowerStrips. This is what they did for me. PowerStrips have changed my life in this way. Okay? Be truthful, be honest, because people know when you're not honest. Okay? You tell people something that is not honest and they know it. And then they're not going to want to do business with you. Okay? So you have to have an honest experience with the product. So in your strategy session, that's what you're going to tell them. Hey, listen, get that product on. Get using it. You have have a pain, you have an ache, you don't sleep well, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, we're going to address it with this product because you need to have a story to tell. Okay? Number 2, you're going to help them create their money story. You're going to help them create their money story. Now, this is something that I've picked up from Brad and Marcia Hager. Some of you know the Hagers, all-stars in the company, very successful. And I really love what they say. Let's create a money story. How many people are you going to enroll in your first week in the business? Okay? And we're going to set that goal. How many people are you going to enroll? Okay, let's write that down. We write it down. And that number becomes very important because it's a number that we will share over and over and over and over again. Because it becomes part of our story, doesn't it? Okay. So it's part of our money story. The Hagers enrolled 53 people in their first week. Okay, so it's an extreme example, but they made extreme income. Their income went right to $250,000 a month. Okay, but they had a network in place. They knew people. These are professional networkers that have done this a long time. I'm not suggesting that's something that all of us can do, but they've invested the years, and so they had the ability to do that. They just had to apply massive effort. But now they have a money story. Well, let's say that the first week enrollment's 10. That's a great story. There's nothing wrong, but it's a great story. Okay? Because I think what happened with the Hagers is week 1 they had 53, and by the end of the first month they had 100, I think 100 even. So you can see, I mean, it was a rush right out of the gate, right? And then it just kind of slowed down, and they about doubled that number again in the end of the month. So the second part of this strategy session from a money story is how many people are you going to enroll in your first month? And we set that goal, okay? And then ultimately that becomes part of our money story, which is a really important part of the process. So the third part of this, so we've got a product story, we have a money story, okay? The third part of this is you're going to help them create a series of lists, okay? And if you've been in network marketing, you know how important these lists are. And I know some people hear list and they go, oh, list, we're talking about list, everybody talks about list. But I will tell you, it is tried, and it is true, and it is proven. And if you want to build a network marketing organization, it starts by identifying the people that you want to work with. That's where it starts, and that's called a list, okay? And so a good leader is going to sit down with this new person, and they are going to run through a series of mind joggers. We call them mind joggers, something that's going to jog your memory, jog your mind, okay? And we're going to go through these memory joggers until we've created a list of people that they can immediately reach out to and put in their business, okay? It's probably the most critical part of a strategy session. Now, you can go through and you can identify people that they know that have pain, okay? Let's first talk about the people in your life that have pain. Oh, well, my aunt has pain. Uncle has some pain. And Dad, well, he's got a lot of pain. And we list all these people that have pain. My neighbor, and so-and-so had a knee replacement, so-and-so's got a bad back, and so-and-so has a... Well, realize that this is a blessing. This is a blessing to those people. Imagine being able to offer them pain relief that is drug-free. Is that a blessing? Yeah. And so all of a sudden, it's not that we're out selling. It's that we're offering something spectacular to these people, and they will appreciate it. They will love you for it. And so we're going to create these lists. The second thing we're going to do after we create these lists is, as a mentor and a leader, you're going to help your new prospect, your new leader, your new member, you're going to help them by making the phone calls to these people, okay? In the industry, they call it a three-way call. And you're either going to meet in person, or you're going to get on a three-way call and you're going to talk to this person, and you're going to help them bring this person into the business. Is everybody okay with that? Okay, this is what leaders do. This is what mentors do. And by the way, if there's anything here that you're not comfortable with, that's okay, but do not expect the income that is possible in this business, okay? You can't say, I want all this money, but leave out steps B and steps E and steps J. It's not going to happen. This is a cake, right? We're going to bake a cake, and we're going to make sure all of these ingredients are in it. And the most important parts are going to be making these lists and then making the phone calls and inviting these people to join us. Okay? So those will be some of the most important parts of the process. Then, we're going to conduct weekly meetings, weekly phone calls with these people. Okay? And there's 3 different types of conference calls or calls that I recommend. The first is going to be just a training call. Okay, that's going to be your leaders, your people that have come on board. And by the way, I know many countries have free access to conference calling platforms. And I'm guessing that some of those are available here. Certainly you can use the internet as well. But this comes back to the communication. So we're going to, weekly, we're going to get on the line and we're going to have training calls, okay? And we're just going to talk about the new things that have come up and how the company is doing and where it's growing and where the new markets are opening, et cetera, okay? We're going to revisit some of our goals as an organization, and you're going to have that call. The second call is going to be a opportunity call, okay? So we'll have a training call, we'll have an opportunity call. This is for people that are new, that are looking, that want to join the company. So we're going to have an opportunity call. And the third, and the most important call that you're going to make, is going to be something that I call return and report. Return and report, okay? And what we're going to do is, based on the strategy session, and based on the numbers that we created when we were interviewing our new leader, we're going to call them and we're going to ask them how they did on their numbers that week. Now you will find that this will become the most important part of the process, and you have to be willing to do it, okay? Because here's the one thing we know about this business. If it's unmeasured, it will never grow, okay? If it's unmeasured, it will never grow. Things only grow when we measure, when we compare, when we contrast, when we actively follow them. Then they will grow. They will magically grow, okay? But you've got to be willing to get on with your new leader at a specified time, and let's say it's a Thursday night, because we're not going to bother them on a Friday. And we're going to get on with Joe, and we're going to say, hey Joe, just wanted to catch up with you to see how your week went. Well, it went pretty good. Good. How many people did you reach out to this week? You know? And this is the kind of dialogue that we have, okay? And if the person is engaged, interested in moving along, they will welcome that. And if they become disengaged, then they're not going to welcome that. They're going to start kind of pushing you away. They're going to stop taking your call, okay? But that's okay, because we only want to work with this one right here that's truly engaged, that's truly excited, and will keep moving along. Does that make sense? Okay. Let's talk about mind mapping real quick. Have any of you ever heard of the concept of mind mapping? I actually have a program on my iPhone called Mind Map. This is where I kind of came up with the concept, but mind mapping is where you basically take an organization and you develop it on paper, okay? Here's you. And you develop it on paper before it becomes a reality, okay? And you can just take a plain white sheet of paper and you can just draw your mind map. And here's what you're going to say. You're going to say, okay, here I am. And I know that John is going to love this business. And I'm going to put him in here, right? And I know that Sally is also going to love this business, and I'm going to put her there. And then I'm going to start listing this out. And oh, I know somebody up in Taiwan, right? This is going to be my Taiwan piece. And we list this out, and we have a very visual impression of what the organization is going to look like. And let me tell you something great about this. You want to know what's great about this? If you will take the time to do this, and you will look at this every day, it's going to remind you to make the phone calls. It'll remind you to follow up. But do you know what eventually happens? This becomes a reality. This becomes a reality. And you will be stunned when you see how close reality mirrors the mind map that you create. Okay? There's something absolutely magical about this. So let's say that we reach out to John, and John says, bad timing for me. Just bad timing. Okay, fine. I'm going to take John's name out of there, and what am I going to do? I'm going to put somebody else's name in there, right? Yeah, I'm not just going to erase the arm. I'm going to put somebody else's name on there. But eventually what you'll see is a mind map that will come together, and it will look exactly or close to exactly the way that you designed it. There's something very, very interesting in that whole process. Okay? Okay, a couple more things, and I'm going to step aside. We talked about branding. Who can help me? Have something to say. Say it well. Say it often. Okay? Those are the 3 steps of branding. And when it comes to your business, you're going to want to create your brand. It is a brand that is powered by Forever Green, but it is your brand. Okay? Now, a couple quick examples. We have members of, we have members of the HMG marketing team here. That's the brand. HMG is the marketing brand powered by Forever Green. Okay? I think we have some other groups here. There might be some Elm. There might be some other groups here. But these are all groups that have branded themselves with their own name, their own logo, their own colors. They have their own taglines. Most importantly, they have their own goals. Okay? And I really, really like this concept. And I would challenge you to be the type of leader that brands yourself in that way. Okay? How many of you here like sports? Do we like sports? What are your favorite teams? Probably cricket, yeah? No? We don't like cricket?
Exceptional. Probably one of the few.
You have to love cricket. I think they don't even let you, you're not even allowed to be born there if you don't like cricket.
I know.
Okay, what are some of your other favorite teams? Football, soccer, right? What's your favorite team? Man U, Manchester United. How many of you know about Manchester United? Who knows about that team? See, here's a team that plays in England, and a lot of you know who they are. What color do they wear? Red. Red. How do you know that? Because you see them, right? You see them on TV. You see them wearing their red shirts. You see, this is all part of branding. Now, what if their name wasn't Manchester United? What if it was a bunch of guys that run around and play football? And that was the name of the team. What's the name of your team? We're just a bunch of guys that run around and play football. Right? Really? What do you wear? Oh, nothing, just whatever we got, right? And nobody would care. Nobody would even know that they exist, right? But that's not the case. They're Manchester United. They have a beautiful logo. They have colors, right? And so the world tends to know that they exist. And they rally behind them. Do you know anybody that personally plays for the team? Do you? Awesome. See, I love Man U. I don't know anybody that plays for the team. I don't think I even know anybody that knows anybody. Now I know Bella. But the point is, people will rally around your brand. They will rally around your brand. But the brand has to exist. So you need to determine who you are. okay? And the place that you're going to play in this company. And if you will brand yourself, people will be excited about that. They'll want to follow you. They will look at that and they will say, there's the name, there's the logo, there's the red shirt. I want to follow that. Because you see, what happens sometimes in our business is you can get out-branded. It's possible that another team in another company is branding themselves well, and even though their product isn't as good and their comp plan isn't as good, they just are drawn to it like a bug to a light, okay? And you get out-branded. So the one thing I'm going to encourage you to do is don't get out-branded. Let people know who you are, okay? And that takes some time. You want to have a website. You want to have a social media presence. You want to have your logo displayed on every email that you send. You want to have your tagline displayed on the bottom of every email and text that you send. See, this is how we brand ourselves. Every person that you communicate with should know who you are and what you represent. Okay? There are a lot of amazing ways that you can brand yourself and let the world know that you are in business. You are in business. Okay? You're not fiddling around with some hobby, right? You know what hobbies are. Hobbies are things we spend money on. Hobbies aren't things that make us money. We're not messing around with a lottery, right? Last night, we had a lottery, didn't we? We sat in this room and we had a lottery. And it was fun. And guess what? Everyone was powerless as to the outcome. Everyone. Nobody had the ability to affect the outcome because it was a lottery. No thanks. No thank you. Okay, now it was fun. And that's fun and games. But we're not going to put our life into an environment that is decided by a lottery. But too many people come into this industry and they treat it like a lottery. Like they're first in. So they're going to get the best result. I don't have to do anything. I came early. That's false. Okay? So if we will treat this business like a business, we will find success. The gentleman here from Pakistan was telling me that he's been a franchise owner. And some of you have probably owned a franchise. And you know that it's hard work. And I think a lot of times we go into a franchise because we say, you know, I would love to be my own boss. I would love to be the person that's making the decisions and driving the business and enjoying the benefits of ownership. These are some of the reasons why we go into a franchise, okay? We put a lot of money up. We put a lot of money up to be the owner of a franchise, which allows us to market our product in a relatively small area, don't we? But guess what? Because you put up $50,000 or $100,000 or $1 million, you take that business extremely seriously, don't you? You work extremely hard, don't you? But something very interesting happens when we say to the world, we're going to eliminate that franchise fee and we're going to open up the entire world for you to play in. Something interesting happens. We get people that come into this industry, which does both, and suddenly, many of them don't take it seriously. Why? Because we didn't charge you $1 million? Why? Because we didn't restrict you to a small geography? Why would you choose not to take this business as seriously as you would take that one? Does that make sense? Yeah. So you need to treat your business like a business. It's going to have expenses. Okay? Where's your shirt? Do you have a hat? How are you branding yourself? How are you branding yourself? Okay? Some of you are saying, why does he wear his watch like that? Anybody notice what my watch is? Yeah. Guess what's under my watch? Can you see the power strip? I'll show you. I've got a crystal ball. I've got a crystal ball under my watch band. You know what a crystal ball is? That's a power strip. A used power strip that's been rolled into a little ball. See it? That's a crystal ball. Who can tell me what pressure point that's on? Where is that? That's the heart. There you go. So, no one is allowed to peel off a power strip and throw it in the garbage, because this crystal ball becomes a pretty amazing pressure point device. Okay? We'll talk more about that at a later time, but that's why I'm wearing my watch. So funny. In case any of you were wondering. Very good. Okay, so we talked about branding. Any questions on the branding? Any thoughts? Any questions? Any comments? Many of us have spent our entire lives building something called linear income. Linear income is where we draw a straight line between the hours that we spend and the money that we make. Okay? For example, we decide we're going to take a job and we're going to be paid $10 an hour. So we know that for every hour of our life that we give to our employer, we're going to receive $10. Okay? That's a linear relationship. What is the difference then between linear and residual? Because remember, this industry, this business is all about building a residual income, right? There is a huge difference between linear and residual. I call linear one and done. Linear is one and done. Okay? Residual is one and run. One and run. You see, in a linear environment, and it doesn't matter what it is, it can even be sales. Let's say that I sell cars. And I work really hard to get that sale of that car, and I sell that car, and I make my commission, okay? Is that one and done? That's one and done, because now I have to start over again, right? And one and done is interesting because it's a little bit like being on an escalator. And the escalator is coming down, and we're trying, we're going up and down escalator, okay? You ever seen anybody try to go up and down escalator? My kids always try to do it when we go to the malls. So you're going up and down escalator, and you get kind of about halfway, and you're working really hard, right? And what happens if you say, I'm just going to take a break for a second. I'm just going to, slow down. I'm just going to stand right here for just a second. Not long. And what happens? Right back down to the bottom, right? Right to the bottom. Yeah. And that's kind of how generating linear income is. Because the minute that you stop, you are done. You are one and done. Okay? And that is probably the reason why so many doctors and lawyers and professionals are joining network marketing. Because a doctor realizes that the last patient that he sees is the last dollar that he makes. And an attorney knows that the last client that he services will be the last dollar that he makes. And so these professionals look at the industry with great intrigue and they say, my goodness, I have spent an entire career working for a linear income. And when my service stops, the income also stops. And so my great challenge to many of my colleagues is to stop spending all of your hours building linear income and begin adding hours spent building residual income. And what you'll find is, the further you get down the tracks, the more you'll be able to put into time spent building residual income, and that is money that will continually pay you back, pay you back, pay you back. How many of you have heard of Big Al Schreider? You heard of Big Al Schreider? Okay. Big Al Schreider, when he was early on in his network marketing career, was asked by someone trying to catch him up.